Damn, yeah. The new song is a bop. That is definitely going to stick in my head for the rest of the year, regardless of what other videos we have this year. It's so sick. I love it. I love seeing all the VTs and stuff before we get into the season, or the different stages, sorry. All right. Day number 3 of the Summer Showdown qualifiers. Rose, it's been a wild ride over the last couple of days. You had a heart attack. Your PC exploded. And, yeah, we never saw you at the end of the broadcast yesterday. Yeah, I'm not surprised because that game, game 5 at the very, it was insane. And we're probably gonna have some more insane stuff today. London Spitfire and the Boston Uprising are game number 1. Chatty versus Punker Queen. You know, a lot of people thinking London were going to do well this stage. The fans, they picked London today, and the rest of the desks picked Boston. So we'll see who's right after this.
I think it's such a tough call. I mean, especially with all the upsets that we've had, right? That's what we're all referring to. This meta is just so fresh and so new that the teams that are adjusting to it very quickly are doing really well, and Boston Uprising is certainly one of those teams, which is why the desk is putting a lot of faith behind them today, and for a very good reason, Jaws. Here's the starting lineup for the Boston Uprising. You know, Punker Queen, of course, as you mentioned, the V brothers from Danny, but you also have to look at MCD and Faith, who are rounding out that support line so nicely to allow Punk to get so much value as Junker Queen.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why I got player of the match yesterday against the Atlanta Reign. A game that literally everybody thought the Reign were going to win.
Yeah.
Reign had such a good roster coming into this stage, and you were like, well, okay, Hawk can play basically anything. Kai as well, just a beast on the hit scan. But Boston came out and just blew them out of the water, disrupted everybody's pick'ems. And I'd be surprised if anybody right now is at 100% after the last couple of days that we have had. But yeah, Punk's Junker Queen has been such a standout. Can this continue, though? Because the London Spitfire are definitely a team not to be trifled with. When they do get going, they really start rolling. And with Hardy at the helm, I mean, yeah, Backbone's Genji, not the greatest compared to a lot of other Genjis we're seeing currently. But if they just stick with that rush and play it more, like Custer was saying on the desk, they have been a team that bends the meta around them. Can that be the case in the Summer Showdown qualifiers?
It's all going to really come down to how London Spitfire decide to adapt in this weekend and next. And yesterday, at least their first match of this stage, Jaws, they did not look good. They tried the Junker Queen, and they even tried the Rush, and it just wasn't working out for them in their first match of this season versus the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, a lot of people were hyped on the Florida Mayhem too. There's a lot of key pieces on there that fit perfectly with the compositions that people are running the Junker Queen comps. So it definitely was a tough opponent, but it's not something that I thought London would have too much trouble with just historically. Same. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. The V brothers, as Danny aptly put it, Valentine and Victoria. I mean, Valentine is on one of his better heroes, the Genji, right? And that's what's crazy about this meta. All these Genji players that have been maybe shoved to other roles as of late can come out and really flourish. And Sojourns and Ash being very crucial to these comps too. You'd expect a lot of really good hit scan play coming out from London Spitfire, for example, from Sparker.
Right.
Just not really met that mark. And I think today's test, really, it is going to be the Punker Queen versus the Chadi, but we got to look at Backbone stepping up to the plate, taking down Valentine, who's been exceptional on the Genji thus far. And I know the desk were like, you know, it's pretty good, but Valentine's performance against the Atlanta Reign with the blades, yeah, that was a little bit more than good.
Yeah, that was definitely standout. When you notice how maybe infrequently those Dragon Blades really are getting like 3-4 people, I think you do have to look at Valentine's success with the Dragon Blades and go, okay, yeah, a little more than good. But I think that you could say a kind of similar thing on the side of the London Spitfire when you have to shine a spotlight onto the Genji. Now, Backbone, of course, has been playing mostly the Mei, has been switching over to his alter ego Bone back to play the Zenyatta, but the Genji has had to take a little bit of shelf time. It just hasn't been a part of the meta that London Spitfire has crafted for themselves. Yesterday, I think it was a little rough. Let's see if Backbone can bring it back, though, this time around and play that Genji a little more synergistically with the rest of the team.
Yeah, you got to help set up the dives, or we've seen a lot of teams just have the Lucio taxi around the Genji and jump to the back line as soon as the enemy Junker Queen ends up going in. So there's a little less peel. Speaking of peel, Sparker doesn't need it. He's on the point with the rest of London. Boston Uprising don't want to go for that touch. They're happy with London just taking the point, winning the fight in the neutral, but there's so many points where you can hide on this exact checkpoint. I mean, you can hide around the walls, around the corners. It's a bit more difficult for the Sojourns to get an instant headshot with people powering on the point. You can see there, Boston Uprising decide to make a move, and they cut to smithereens.
Yeah, that was a really rough one. I think London Spitfire had identified that this particular point of Lighthouse, you really do want to have point presence first. And so once London Spitfire beat the Boston Uprising to the punch, they were able to sit there and poke the rest of the Uprising down. And so Punk was so low before he could really even go in and get a good engage. I mean, look at that too. He's already half health, moving back towards the point.
Yeah, now it's just about that neutral. Trying to get Sparker and Victoria to find a headshot. There's no 2.5 minute break between kills. Not today. Not today. Not with how aggressive both the teams have been recently. Commanding shout for the Boston Uprising as they just speed towards Sparker and Landon. Spoke about how Landon, oh my god, okay. That was an immense boop by Faye. That was a lot of 3L charge. Booping Hardy off the map. Not bad. Boston Uprising, take the point.
A really nice fast re-engage from them as well. They actually did deny London Spitfire even more percentage, so stopping them at 57. Faith, of course, has the sound barrier so fast. It's the first support ultimate that's come online, Jaws. And I know that environmental had something to do with it, but also Faith's Lucio has just been so aggressive, and you can see how that wall riding has really helped Faith just stay in the AoE of the team to heal, as well as just making sure that he's in the face of somebody on the enemy team to get that massive damage.
Double play, double commanding shout. There's the beat for the Uprising. Punk didn't get it though. He was on the mini pack. LOS all for the beats, and he ends up getting cut down by Landon and Backbone. Riley's follow up with the London Spitfire. MCD only a couple of percentage points away from getting his online, and yeah, unfortunately, Boston Uprising didn't have the rally to save the rest of the team, and in fact, they're just going to go in. I mean, you might as well. Landon and April don't have support ults anymore, and the overhealth has already faded away. Faith looking for some cheeky boots. Hardy doesn't want to step up to the plate. Look at that preemptive boot. Thinking that maybe the London Spitfire try and peek their heads in to get to the point. Boston Uprising find the flip and kill Hardy, as now the Uprising just making London Spitfire pay for overstepping. A triple kill for Victoria, or even a quad kill in fact.
That was so good. I mean, that's what we expect out of a DPS like Victoria, and I love that we finally get a chance to see Boston Uprising in what looks to be they're coming up to their prime right now, Jaws. This is the team that we were all really hoping to see. This is a good look. And now Punk gets to follow up with a Rampage. Victoria may have been taken out, but they might not be out of it just yet, depending if Punk can get this online.
Yeah, you still have to fight this neutral. That'll help start it off, though. 3-man Rampage. Can they kill Punk? Yes, they can. Pretty easy piece. Now at 96%. They still need to touch, mind you. There you go. London Spitfire starting the cap off. Uprising still willing to push in, regardless of their Punker Queen being down. The Backbone's going pretty low, to be fair. They pick him off. Maybe they just speed into the front line.
Landon's got those cookies, though. No worries. Backbone's not going down just yet. But the fact that Punk was able to hold on to the Rampage as well gives Boston such a great engagement tool to be able to take back control. They do have 99% so far. Last fight.
Nice rally by Landon, yep, as Sparker just sails to the skies and takes out both supports of the Boston Uprising. I mean, there was a good setup by Punk. Hit the Rampage on a few people. London Spitfire looking like a brand new beast starting out on this first round. Can Boston Uprising touch? Maybe, just maybe. Doofus coming in. Faith on the Lucio. He gets booped away. Okay, London. All right. Very much of a different look. Hey, I'm not, looking at those pick'ems. Maybe the audience is right. Maybe London are brand new. Maybe they know something we don't.
They might. They just might. I mean, I think something that was really smart about the way that London has played this was a lot of teams, when they're ahead, they like to get really, really aggressive. Go touch the spawn door challenge. That's been very active. And, you know, people are trying to set records right now. But London, in those final moments, did realize that overextending could just throw the round. So, you know, just have Admiral over there, try to watch for the Lucio rollouts that Faith may go for to try to touch the point and just be there to act as doorman. And that worked out way better, just so knowing that London Spitfire also had that plan B of insurance of just, well, we're on the point, and so we should be able to also deal with them if they end up actually getting there on time. But, well, let's see how many Lucio environmentals we can get on this map.
Yeah, I'm definitely counting. Ooh, that's not good. Hardy got shivved by Punk there. Not the best start. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm honestly curious how many spawn camps we've seen in the league overall versus how many we've seen during this Junker Queen meta.
Yeah.
It does feel a lot easier with the Junker Queen. Like the amount of healing you have and the sustain, the people are way more willing to play up the spawn doors. I'm all for it personally. I think it's quite funny.
It's just this meta or Dallas Fuel. One of the two.
Oh my god. Punk's accuracies with the knives, not bad at all. Sparker, unhindered though, was just sitting in the back line of the London Spitfire waiting for Boston to peek out when he had full railgun charge. Now Punk's going to have to land a few more knives to turn this fight. Sparker misses that railgun, but the London Spitfire now going for the cap. 34% is all the Boston Uprising got from that fight. I wouldn't say an overextension, but it's more on Sparker picking up a lot of those kills.
Yeah, Sparker looks to be in better form today. He feels he seems more confident with how the Sojourn is supposed to play in this particular composition, which I feel like, you know, we saw a little bit of discomfort from the London Spitfire versus the Florida Mayhem. And so this does look to be, you know, like the signs of life we expected from the London Spitfire for a composition that plays pretty similarly to the Reinhardt, which is just charge at the enemy team and rush at their face.
Pretty early beat for Faith. Admiral a little bit further behind, but Valentine's already dead. I don't think Faith or MCD, to be fair, really expected Valentine to go down that early, and it looks like a big reset for Boston. And you lose that ult advantage, which kind of sucks. Not gonna lie, if you're Fate there, maybe you go for a beat engage, hoping that London Spitfire don't have one to match. But London now in a good spot. Like, they've almost got 5 ults. It feels pretty decent. And what are they gonna do? Well, they're gonna play up. Might as well.
Yeah, they're approaching that they're past the halfway point now for their own capture progress. And if they're able to stop Boston Uprising in their tracks now without having to use very much, then they preserve a ton of tools for that last fight territory that they're hoping to get this next fight into.
Right now they're just playing back. Come on, play up to their faces, bump their chest. Do it. Backbone sent up for Blade. Oh, run away. Seen a few cheeky reflects on the right clicks already over the last couple of days. Blade for Backbone. Oh, look at that beat, perfectly timed. Now he's in a whole lot of hurt. Received double health back, in fact, from the Brig. And now both supports using their rallies. So no one's going to die just yet. Hardy goes in with the Rampage, hits 3. Punk went in just before he did, and only managed to gain 1. Very, very nice use in the cage. You step up to me, Punk. The rest of your team are going to have to follow you in some way and going to have to peek you to heal you. So Hardy took that in his stride. Yeah.
Oh
if you're going to all peek when I've got Rampage, you best believe I'm hitting Q straight to the back line. London did lose the cap. They've now on 90% and might just take this first map.
I think they're okay with that. I mean, the disruptor shot that Sparker also used to isolate Punk away from the team was massive. And they could just close it out here, even though they don't have any ults to do so. Just got to get through this Valentine Blade.
Valentine Blade, he swung at his own teammate there, but now he's found the kills. Oh, does get taken down by Backbone, but 2 will do. OT's here, but Boston Uprising forcing London back to their spawn after that Colossal Blade.
And I think you're okay with that because now every team is on ground zero. Clean slate, you're just working up to whatever ultimate is going to come online first. And for London, I think they're hoping it's sustainability here. Either the rally or the beat. One of those could just be the difference maker for London getting the flip back and taking the map.
Sparker's taking a really aggressive angle there. Had to use that shift to get away. Oh, now look at this, playing up to plate, you might as well. At the end of the day, you just got to snipe one of those supports, and you should be as good as gold. London Spitfire are capping, by the way, and they actually do manage to flip right underneath Boston's noses. The Boston Battleship better get on that point ASAP. Looks like Fate's going to be one to juggle touch, and now Victoria. Nice little off angle from the Soldier, takes care of Landon. Backbone attempting, maybe he would have got that kill on Fate if he had the dash, but has to use it more defensively. And with Landon dead, Addy's going to have to come up with something big. London Spitfire throw everything in the kitchen sink in this fight, using that beat, hitting 4 for the Boston Uprising, and are going to respond with not only a rally, but a beat in kind. Now it's a 3-on-3 on the point, and Victoria's going super low, trying to make a play with a blade from Backbone. Might be the thing that seals the deal. Remember, they capped the point halfway through this fight, and they've managed to take the second round and the first map.
Okay, London Spitfire. Okay, they got a little angry after their first match of the stage, it looks like. This is a whole different look from them. This is very confident. This is not what we saw on day number 1.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite, in fact. And Boston Uprising had a hot start against the Atlanta Reign, a game that everybody thought Atlanta would take. But now Boston down a map. We'll see if they can come back after this. The London Spitfire might be back to their old shenanigans, though. We'll see you after this. Contrary to all the pick'ems, London are up a map. Although we don't do pick'ems map by map, which would be, that would be insane actually. That would be some Mega Mind level stuff if you could predict every single map in the pick'ems. But London off to a good start. 2-0 on control as we go on to Paraiso as our next map. We're seeing the brand new map again, which is always exciting. Will we see variants in the comps? Probably not, but I think the important thing to take away from map number 1, Rose, is that London, yeah, they're shoring up. Boston Uprising came in today pretty hot after that win against the Atlanta Reign, but the London Spitfire, maybe a bit of a slow start to the qualifiers, have already taken them a map off of them.
Yeah, it really might take some teams to just like, it might take some teams a bit to get it going, right? This is a brand new meta. You know, of course, when we talk about London Spitfire's aggressive play style, yeah, easy thing to say, it should translate well, but the fact of the matter is that there's so many different, small things that this composition has to do just a touch differently than the Reinhardt composition in order for London to really make it work for them. And I think part of that too is that, when Backbone does play the Genji, I noticed that Backbone was sticking with the team a lot more this time around. And instead of trying to go for those big hero plays that we've seen Genji go for in something like a dive composition. And I think that has played out way better for London Spitfire so far. Speaking about the Boston Uprising, though, they are going to be coming out of spawn with the exact same thing we saw from them on Ilios. And I'm going to be looking at their positioning of how they decide to set up this Sojourn, and also where this Genji decides to use the high ground to really make this composition work on the defense.
So we were kind of discussing in the break with Nick, one of our producers, that maybe when the APAC region sees this, they'll come up with something a little bit cheeky, a little bit different, maybe. So I'm kind of excited to see the Eastern regions take on the meta. Of course, they will have, well, a weekend worth of VODs, like 4 days worth of VODs, and different teams playing these cards to decide what they want to run. Well, that's an exceptional start for London Spitfire. Little quick kill by Sparker.
There you go. Okay, so now Sparker's warm. Like, he's ready. He sees the target, he's going to go for it. And that might be enough time now for the London Spitfire to take this player advantage and just take the point.
The whole of London Spitfire just walked to point. I mean, Boston Uprising, I guess they have the high ground now, which is great. There's double commanding shout. Valentine trying to execute Sparker in the back line, but to little to no success. In fact, just no success. And now this is the problem. If you end up spinning, if you're the London Spitfire, yeah, you just get caught off like this. Admiral and Landon dead, and Hardy on the wrong side of the map. And this is something that we saw from people like the Shock yesterday, Rose, was the unbelievable focus fire and just the hounding down of individual players is what's separating the very best teams from the good teams right now.
Well, I think a lot of that comes in as well from the Lucios. Faith is definitely that type of player that can get into a good position to separate the enemy team. And so that's why you saw Boston Uprising just get in there and split up the Spitfire, and then they could go over one half of the team at a time. And now London Spitfire, they're back at square zero, square one. Again?
Yeah. Wow. Victoria just diffed there by Sparker. Now the rest of the Boston Uprising getting diffed on first. Spitfire managed to gain 33% on that last attack, so they're definitely going to grab it now. There's no way Boston Uprising come back from this one, right? Right? I mean, they got Lucio. They have beaten their rally, but it looks fairly unlikely.
Like, no, please don't tell me Boston would come in here with a, with a sound barrier.
No, that would be crazy. Just beat from halfway across the map. We're gonna make it.
No.
We're gonna make it.
No.
No, we touch. I've definitely made a few of those calls in my time as a support player. Well, Spark is dead. Bit of revenge, but you should get Victoria the kill, so he gets a little bit of a ego boost there, maybe. As soon as you start getting diffed on hit scan, I know the feeling. You're just down in the dumps, never hit shots. Just Spyro's out of control. But Victoria's a professional player, and I have a pleb, so you know. All right, the London Spitfire pushed all the way back to their spawn, and Boston Uprising didn't end up using that rally to start the fight off, so hey, you might as well hold close. It's the name of the game with this comp.
Well, yeah, I think that's fine. You have the sound barrier as well, but man, that stagger on a backbone just hurts watching. You will see that London Spitfire, like, they can reset here as they're in spawn, but like, the sound barrier could just make this so difficult for London to get through without using their own ults.
Wow, that was an aggressive blade. He killed Backbone in the spawn, basically. Jesus. That's a spawn camp into a whole new level.
Just get back there. It's fine. Dash
Like,
blade.
actually just cut them up in their spawn. There's not the... There's... You also, I guess this bit you can't see on the UI right now, but that'll be the invulnerability, like, square.
Yeah.
So the doors itself, you can still take damage in, like Hardy is right now. So yeah, it's viable, it's doable. As a body shot on to Faith, although Spiker can't quite finish that kill, and with Landon dead, it's all about just a stall game now.
I think London have to use their support ultimates to get out of here. Like, start with the rally and just rush at somebody. But look at how Boston Uprising are controlling every single exit point of the spawn. And they're about to have another rally. They haven't even used their sound barrier yet. And London, they really get one chance to try to break this stronghold. They do get out.
Oh, there's Blade. Victoria in trouble. Not for long, though. Gets that overhealth from the beats. Rallies, rallies, and more rallies. Double rampage for Hardy. MCD and Faith glow bright purple. However, Backbone and Admiral dead. Not great. The London Spitfire still couldn't win at this fight, as both MCD and Faith can't provide healing to Boston. They should be good. They're still taking names somehow. Victoria gives Sparker there. And London Spitfire, they've made it out of their spawn.
Ooh, okay. That was like Paraiso difficulty on like what? Not normal, like hard, not very hard,
mode.
but hard.
Impossible mode.
Yeah, it was definitely becoming a problem. But Boston as well, because of that close hold towards the spawn, they have another chance to come back and contest this. So you'll see them start getting set up around these apartments. And when Punk has the rampage, as London, I'd be pretty scared to go down a stairwell right now and meet Punk in a back alley.
Inching the payload forward. Punk is just eyeing him through the door. You come through here, you're dead. Oh well, Sparker does.
You poke your head, you're dead.
Yep, that's not the worst angle to have if you're Victoria. Spark has to peek that to try and find some sort of damage. London Spitfire with only a minute to go. Valentine is going pretty low, but with Punk falling down, the London Spitfire used the beat to seal this fight. Uprising backing all the way up. And London Spitfire did get the payload a fair distance, but this will be another contest for Uprising.
They still have ults to use too. Punk didn't get a chance to use the rampage, and so that could be a way to just go in and engage. And Valentine as well has the blade if Landon might need a response to the rally with this.
There it is, four-man rampage in the back. The blade from Valentine is cut short by Backbone, and Backbone finds MCD off the back of it on what was an amazing rampage from Punk. Just the follow-up was just not there. And Backbone just cleaning house. Gets 3 kills in the fight, maybe 4 if he picks off Victoria, but with Valentine there, it doesn't look like it. Although I say that as Hardy comes in with Admiral at his back. The Uprising are forced to their spawn in the London Spitfire on what was a spawn hold on point A. Now have point 3 to contend with. 1 minute and 30 seconds in the time bank.
We can see the overclock for Victoria, the rally, but I actually think that London Spitfire really set up well here for this third and final point. They may not have much time left, but this could be 2 attempts if they're able to go fast enough here. As long as they don't get shut down with their ults.
Oh, there's the blade. Oh, what a poop. Backbone still has that dash, but he can't really do much. Not against that rally overhealth, so you might as well back up to the rest of the team and actually survive. Of course, you only have 60 seconds to go, so you have to play it quite sparingly. Hardy sends himself to the back line, swings that axe, gets a miss, but Faith and Valentine still purple. You could see MCD there trying to peel for Faith, but he did get chased down, and in fact, Hardy just finished it off with a bleed. Although with 30 seconds to go and Hardy dead, London Spitfire is still not in a great spot. Faith has beaten 3% to match Admirals, and with 30 seconds, it looks like if they finish, it will be an OT.
That's still better than nothing, I think. Just try to get as much meterage as you can, but you're still seeing Boston with just this really nice sightlines onto London.
Oh man, you could get some sick collapse here. Not to be though, is the beat. Make sure everybody stays nice and healthy. Someone's touching. Yeah, 3 people in fact from the London Spitfire on the payload. No C9s, not just yet anyway. I'm not going to call it too soon. Played for Valentine, but the rally is out for the London Spitfire. He's trying to cleave through the armor and pierce it, and he does. Sparker falls as the Uprising now with a man advantage on the point. OT for London Spitfire. They kill Faith, but the Boston Uprising in good stead. Commanding Shout hits 3, but the London Spitfire with good target focus. Stop Uprising in at their tracks and get the payload going once again. You've got to be careful though. Punk's coming back rather shortly, and he has a rampage in 5%.
Yeah, that should come online as long as he's able to get back here, but oh, you gotta rush out. Valentine's gonna make it there first, maybe?
Got it. Oh, 1.13 meters. Make that 0. Valentine was the only one there to touch Faith. Oh, what was that? A couple of pixels before he got on the payload?
I think he got booped away, actually. There's so many crowd control effects on this composition that it could have been the Lucio boop, it could have been the flail from the brig. Definitely a few things there.
Unfortunate. Man, if Punk had the rampage, maybe Boston Uprising could have turned that. But they did force Spitfire into OT. So, you know, you take those, you take those.
Complete with one, just over a minute. That's yeah, forehead. Come on, Boston. You got this.
Yeah, winnable.
Winnable.
That's on their whiteboard behind them. Just complete with over a minute.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the strat today, team. We're going to go in, and we're going to complete with over a minute. Thoughts, questions, concerns? None? Okay.
No, we got the game plan down pat, for sure.
Yeah.
But I want to see...
What was this? Oh, this must have been the little 3K for your boy. Oh, when Valentine pulled the blade. Look at the deflect behind him.
Oh, no. Valentine just wasn't turned around at all, and Backbone is like, hey, I see an opening in your armor there, my guy. Like, just going to go ahead and, like, join. That was a big shutdown.
Valentine was trying to jump on the back, and I was like, oh, the supports. How tasty. But, yeah. Luckily, Backbone was there to save the day.
All right, let's see what...
What are they doing?
You know what?
It's on a pixel ledge.
They found all the hiding spots, but we'll see Boston Uprising here. Come out of spawn with the Widow just for a quick pick, and I noticed that the London Spitfire did this as well, but with a bit more investment into it. You saw the Mercy for the damage boost alongside the defense matrix from the Diva, and then all 3 players switched on the Spitfire. Boston, I feel like, are doing it the more classic way, which is just try to get the pick with the Widowmaker, and then, you know, Victoria, go back and switch. And that's why you switch.
I would love to see teams just perma-pick Widow here, but the sidelines don't really help you a ton. There's too many tight corners, although I've definitely tried to force Widowmaker here a few times. All right, Victoria pretty charged up at this point, just looking for another brief headshot. Sparker's going to rejoin the team in a couple of seconds and have high ground. So the Boston Uprising need to make use of the time they've allotted with the kill onto him earlier on. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to force too much as London Spitfire end up backing up. Now an engagement in the small building, exactly where Backbone wants to be. So many resets, although it's turning out to be quite a brawl. And Backbone's pretty low. He's got 60 HP, and the Boston Uprising in this instance come out on top. Both their supports and Punk staying alive.
Oh, look at that. The commanding shout as well for who is left on the Boston Uprising just to chase Hottie away as the Spitfire start to come back. Hottie must have gone to get a mega pack, but is he even going to get back in time to stop this?
Someone can touch. Yeah, it's actually Landon and Abril that tried to go for it, but Landon's just cut down. In his prime, some would say. There's the cleanup. It's so satisfying seeing those axe kills, I will say. And the payload is unlocked and ready to go. Boston Uprising not giving Spitfire a chance to spawn camp. They're going to be on high ground ASAP.
I think that's, you know, I don't know if Boston really wants to deal with the medicine they dished out to the London Spitfire there. That looked kind of painful. In Boston, of course, while they have some of these more aggressive ultimates available to them, like the rally, and then, of course, building up to that rampage, they do want to get as close to Spitfire as possible just to create that space. And so you're going to see them really set up on the ramp here, but it's also playing around these apartments. that you're going to find so much value with those tight quarters.
All right, Backbone, looking at you with this blade. You got to force that beat. You got to force that rally.
You've seen somebody.
Across the way there. It is Valentine. Little slide off the roof. Little engagement maybe. Jump straight to the back. There's the blade. MCD's pretty low, and Backbone manages to get MCD before the blade gets deployed by Faith. A perfect execution from Backbone there. Look, he's Ezio on the rooftops. Just diving down.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty happy about that one. That's a big reset here for the Uprising. You know, Victoria didn't get anything done with the overclock. This Disruptor shot will start to move Spitfire back, but now that it's over, here comes Hottie.
Ooh, oh my word. Victoria slid away from that one, but couldn't escape the grasp of Hottie. Nice rampage. Ends up killing Faith too. Boston Uprising have to score themselves back to the spawn. MCD, yeah, use rally in that fight. That was rather unfortunate. I think London Spitfire, they just heard the rally go off, and then, well, if we just go in now, that overhealth's not going to have a chance to build up in time.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fact you shut off the rest of the healing as well, I think is really big. And now London Spitfire, they have 3 more ultimates that they can rotate through. And they've already chewed off like 2 minutes off of the time bank that Boston had going into this point.
Beats for Blade. Look, he didn't even try and go in with a dash. Used the dashes to escape. Nice though. You forced the beat, which is all good. Now Punk can set up for a rampage. Do what Hardy did to MCD, maybe. Victoria with a headshot, however. And London Spitfire still determined to fight this, knowing Sparker can come back. His effective range is pretty large, so he can get an ear into this fight in just a moment. There is so much happening in this room. Why don't we just sort this over shuffleboard, maybe? Nope, doesn't look like Victoria wants to. April just going crazy in that small room. My word. Imagine being a fly on the wall in that situation. You just couldn't, well, we are technically, I suppose. Be third-person camera in that room, you couldn't see anything.
No, it'd be a lot to take in, that's for sure. These fights can be very aggressive, and so sometimes it is a little bit hard to just follow all the action, but I think one thing to note about that is, like, you have to look at who really is getting these first picks. A lot of times it's going to be Sparker or Victoria, the Sojourns, on these compositions, and then you'll see that follow-up come through with those dash resets, but Sparker's gonna go.
Ooh. Sparker almost with the double tap onto Punk. Yep. Run for the hills. The hills being the buildings around the corner. All good. Still though, burning off time, Rose, like you said, they had 2 minutes in the time back a minute ago, and London Spitfire have stalled for long enough. They've used both support ultimates. I mean, Admiral is kind of matching MCD.
They had 4
in the rally versus the
minutes going into this stretch. This is not much time left at all, Jaws. And Boston, they need to get ultimates online. Faith and Victoria, I'm looking at you right now.
There's the blade commanding shout. The target is Punk. Beat from Faith rather late. Backbone still did a lot of damage, but is it going to result in anything? Victoria now following up. However, Sparker had his name written in that death though. As he peeks around that corner, hits Punk with a chunky rail in the chest, and London Spitfire holding at this point pretty firmly. 35 seconds to go, and the pick'ems, maybe they were right. The desk in shambles.
I think the desk has been in shambles all weekend. It's okay.
They've been so mad.
Come on, the community needs a pick'em win too. All right, like, they're all suffering. We're all suffering here. But Spitfire have a chance to just go up 2-0 in this series, and they're gonna do it off the back of a rampage from Hottie if the Boston Uprising are careful.
Oh, Hottie got booed back. Still manages to lock down 2 with the rampage. Valentine gets a reset from the blade. Sparker dead. London Spitfire without a beat, waiting for that rally to get up online before the Boston Uprising can cap this point. Valentine falls, but Landon goes down. The target focus from Uprising. Oh, so good as they continue to push the payload. 4 meters to go. Fairly even in terms of trades here. Maybe Landon comes back in time. I mean, the spawn isn't that far away for the London Spitfire. They just need to be able to survive. It is Hardy using commanding shout, keeping everybody up in time, and there you go. Landon's back in. It's up to the rampage to try and find something, but the overhealth might be too much to chew through. 3 people antied, and Punk swinging his axe away, but Chaddy's axe a little bit bigger. London Spitfire hold Boston on second and put themselves in match point.
Looked a little dicey there on London Spitfire's attack push as well, where they got that spawn camp from the Boston Uprising. They had to get out of the spawn doors, which was an incredibly difficult challenge, and then they still ended up completing the map. And that defense from the London Spitfire as well, just the way that they maneuvered around those corners on that street space of Paraíso was just super, super well done. I think this London team has figured out some things in these last 2 days, and they're ready to prove to us that they're still in contention for the Summer Showdown.
I think we need heart rate monitors on the desk to judge how crazy they're going right now. London Spitfire up 2-0 against the Boston Uprising. We'll have to wait and see how this ends up turning out. We go into Dorado as our next map after this break. Consider me your guardian angels because angels, me and Rose being angels, because I'm reminding you to grab the Royal Knight Mercy skin before it's too late. Get the Mid-Season Madness Legendary skin on sale now through August 19th. So a few more days it's available for. 200 League tokens, that is. If you haven't picked it up already, there you go. You can jump on to Overwatch and pick that up in the Overwatch League section, the store, you know where it is. Right. back to Boston versus London, or Spitfire versus Uprising, whichever you so choose. 2-0 for London Spitfire right now. Looking great. Backbone, we talked a little bit about his Genji not being a standout for London when they were playing the Junker Queen comp the other day, but looks very much improved, especially against Valentine, who come off a very, very hot game versus the Iron Terrain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Genji is a hero that Backbone is known for, but I do remember there being some pain points of that hero just at the beginning of the season when we saw the London Spitfire trying to figure out that dive. You know, the Reinhardt has always been such a successful composition for them, and they've had to kind of work on their versatility just a little bit more, but Hadi has shown that he's able to do that with the Winston. The London Spitfire as a team have been adjusting to that as well, and the Junker Queen composition, maybe it took a little while, but Jaws, I think they've finally gotten there.
Yeah, it didn't take long. Props to Christopher and the coaching staff. All right, we'll see if Boston can bounce back. We've seen some insane Game 5s over the last couple of days, some denials of reverse sweeps, some actual reverse sweeps, so Boston aren't out of the woods just yet. If Summer Showdown Qualifiers has taught us anything, when you reach map number 3, that is when some crazy things happen, so yeah.
Anything can happen. I'm not like calling it here. We can't.
Oh no, definitely not. No one would call maps or games and get map number 3, right? No one would do that. How dare you? There's always an ability to come back. True. Even at the most dire circumstances. It's always winnable. Always comebackable. Yeah.
Sure. Is the jury still out on that one? Winnable versus comebackable. Is comebackable actually a word?
Yeah, I mean, not according to the Oxford Dictionary, but I just need to submit a request and I'm sure that'll get
okay. Well, I'm sure that'll come through very quickly here, but
yeah.
What is
Finally,
this?
Bastion double jump wheels mode. See ya, bug. What? I thought maybe he changes. I thought he'd do be a little trolling. Nope. They do not be trolling. Christopher, what have you done to this team? And why is it now my favorite team in the Overwatch League playing the Bastion?
Oh my god, that's why I didn't talk about it at first, because usually we see picks like Bastion, and you go, that's a troll, right? Like that, there's no way that's meta. No, they're just gonna pop Backbone like by Hadi and maybe by Landon and just, oh my god.
Oh, look at him go. Thing is though, as soon as he pops out of this configuration tank, yeah, he can get run over pretty fast. But you've got speed boost, I suppose, and you have Brick Bash and Pack and everything else. MCD is dead. Boston Uprising. Bastion, maybe? Counter the Bastion with a Bastion?
I think
double Bastion off?
Boston is in shambles right now.
Oh,
like, you know how... Okay, I know Overwatch League is not ranked, right? But
no,
means
he's going back to spawn.
This is not your ranked experience, and gosh darn it, Backbone, I swear.
Oh, I'm so sad.
I am sad too.
Hey,
that was lightning fast.
Cap first point. That's what counts. We've got Bastion playtime in the Overwatch League, more than like half a second, so I am happy. I am happy. And he got a little bit of extra ult charge too. Remember the DPS passive change,
correct.
So that's why Backbone's got so much ult charge already, because he got a lot on Bastion, then switched.
Yeah, he ended up with like 30% as soon as he got out of spawn. So that's really nice. Gonna keep that rolling as well, just to be able to build up that Dragonblade a little bit faster.
Very early support ultimates for London Spitfire, considering they won 2 fights back to back. Uprising pushed all the way back. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. London Spitfire do be doing a little trolling.
Well, you know what?
Well, look, okay. We did speak about at the very start. London Spitfire are the team, right, that come up with weird things that bend the meta around them. If it was any team that was going to pull out Bastion, probably would have been London.
At least they do it to success as well, right? It would look a little silly if like it didn't work. Like, we're not going to talk about Roadhog yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
It wasn't London.
There's the beat. Counters the blade. Valentine's still looking. He's peeking. Trying to find an isolated target, but ain't gonna work. Nice reactive beat there from Faith after Hardy's rampage into the back line. Just isolated him completely. Blade for Backbone. Oh, he's so low. Nice double boop into the wall. He gets some damage down and almost survives, but that's CC, the displacement for the Boston Uprising. Enough enough work to push him out of LOS of both Landon and Admiral, so he can't get heals. And they are halted for the first time at this map.
That was so expensive, though, and I think that's just a big testament to how well London have just been playing with that momentum, because Boston did have to throw 4 ults at that, or 3 ults at that. They still have the overclock, but Sparker also has one, and you also have these long sight lines to be able to use.
Oh, MCD's in the backline. Oh, that was almost a kill. Almost a reflect kill onto Sparker. Both Genji's dead. Hardy also falls. Nice distraction. I mean, you take that if you're Valentine. Like, you distracted Sparker long enough with the deflect and just existing in his face that he couldn't get the rest of the overclock or any more value from it.
Yeah, Boston's happy with that trade of overclocks, because now Punk is the only person with an ult online, and you could just use that rampage before Landon gets the rally online, and then all of a sudden you don't have to deal with the overhealth, you don't have to deal with anything extra that could allow London to sustain. And Punk's been able to set these up really well. That's why he got the name Punker Queen from that very first match of this meta. So let's see what Punk is able to get done here with the rampage.
I mean, benefit to the Uprising. The London Spitfire do have to drop onto the point, or at least some of them do. Nice ang from Spark. All good though. I mean, the Uprising also have the high ground on the other side, so it's just Punk juggling the payload, and it's actually moving back a considerable distance right now. So London Spitfire now have to go from a different angle. In fact, they're going to try and push Victoria off of the height. There's the rally. MCD is 1 HP. He gets the commanding shout, but the knife ends his life. Little tack knife off the top of high rise. 360, no scoped him. London Spitfire, they do end up losing Sparker, but they're still in a decent spot pushing the payload, and having control and both your supports are alive does mean you can go for another aggressive push. A couple of right clicks from Backbone do end up missing, but Punk is feeling the wrath of the London Spitfire right now. The blade's been pulled from Valentine. He tries to get the slash and dash reset onto Hardy. Gets him in the end, but cleaned up by Backbone. The Boston Uprising do have support ultimates to back them up, so Spitfire, they're going to have to go again. Only a minute remains of their time bank.
This is such a tough point for the attacking team as well. If the card gets stops here, you really do need to have quite a few resources to be able to make it through. Or just maybe just have a really big opening pick like this. Now, Boston Uprising can't really pivot as well.
Oh my god, Sparker was 1H. How does that work out for Sparker over Victoria? I do not know. There's the beat from Fake. Admiral used his to start off the fight. Punk was the target, and they executed fairly well. London Spitfire still moving the points. They're going to be able to get to checkpoint B, unlock that giant door in the foundry, and 2 minutes added to their time bank. And the Boston Uprising, they ended up losing Punk super early on, and yeah, not great. When you don't have a front line like that and things to set up your Sojourn and be just like a stone wall for your Sojourn, it's way harder for Sparker or Victoria to act in those fights. They have to play so much more scared.
Yeah, when you only have the one tank as well now in 5v5, you feel that a lot more losing the tank early.
Oh, wow. Hardy going back to the old spawn of the Boston Uprising, paying them a quick visit. Nice lineup. Hook, line, and sinker on from the Rampage. Yep, goodbye, Faith. No way you're escaping from this one, buddy.
No, Sparker was there. He's like, I know where you're going. Get a little bit of that telegraphed movement. But now that this card is rounding the corner, London Spitfire all of a sudden are back in the driver's seat. They have struggled to get through that second point. But Boston now may not have enough legs to stand on as this cart approaches.
Ooh. Wow, Sparker. It's just, I feel like Victoria maybe have said something to him in the pre-game lobby. He is mad. Every single time Victoria pokes his head out, he dies. Now it's just fake. One small Lucio against the world. Unfortunately, the world came crashing down, and London Spitfire do complete the map with 41 seconds in the bank.
Score.
Really did look like they weren't going to get there. But Boston as well, I think that they're a team, at least when we watched them during their match versus the Atlanta Reign, they did such a good job on the attack. And if they're able to get through some of these difficult angles that the London Spitfire will be holding with the Sojourn or the Junker Queen, then Boston could just bully their way through.
The question on my mind is, do Boston play Bastion?
No.
That's all I want to see. I want to see more Bastion.
I do too, but I really don't think you're going to get your wish.
That's... Look, if someone
I'm
told
just
me
sorry.
that Bastion was going to be played today, I'd question everything about them. But, you know, we've seen it. We saw them take first with it, so, you know. Bastion viable, maybe?
Maybe.
In a hyperbolic chamber, maybe. But definitely not going to happen again, because people will probably start expecting it. I think I'm pretty sure Sparker ran out as Junkrat as well. I think I briefly remember seeing a Junkrat, I don't know. I was just too concentrated on backroom playing the Bastion.
I saw the Bastion for the most part. But at some point, come on now, a team has to treat us with the Bastion, the Junkrat, like the Junkrat and the Junker Queen. Come on now. On yeah, Junker Town. I'm expecting it. Yeah. Come on, please. Once.
Just once?
Just once.
Please, I'm begging you. Yeah, no funny business from the Uprising. They're just delivering the Junker Queen comp and doing what we saw a long time ago, this kind of stalling on the payload from teams where you just kind of hug the corner and then force them in that small room. It's really good for the Brig, of course. You can just kind of swing through and get a lot of damage in. Same with Punk with the Axe, but London with very quick rotations all the way back to the bridge.
Gonna have to rotate. I mean, you don't want to get stuck where you could be getting pincered by the Boston Uprising, but getting stuck in the corner.
That disruptor shot was kind of annoying for Valentine to deal with. Victoria still ends up dying somehow. Not sure where he was. Maybe follow Punk into the small little mini room there, and Landon ends up getting rolled over. Yeah, it's just a slow snowball now. Boston did lose someone at the start of the fight, but didn't really end up working out. Oh, go on, diff it.
Just do a little quick wall ride, boop him back up, and then that's like one of my favorite things to see as a Lucio. Do the boop up and then get the predictive shots as they fall back down with the gravity in the game.
Oh yeah.
It's fun.
Lucio's gun is one of the hardest things to shoot in the game. It requires like a weird finesse. It's super strange. I've never got it down ever, and seeing like good Lucios, Faith, Astro, like Admiral, like any Lucio player hit people repeatedly with the left click is just mind-blowing to me. You might as well be Einstein solving equations.
Oh my gosh, getting a headshot with Lucio is like you hit the holy grail, okay? Like it's remember that moment, it may not happen again, unless of course you are one of the Lucios in the Overwatch League. But
yeah, exactly. All right, double support all for the Boston Uprising. I did cap first point, got a lot of time in the bank, but the Spitfire do have height with Sparker and his railgun, overclock online. But look at this, Faith just trying to be cheeky, boops down the Junker Queen. Now Hadi has to use the commanding shout in order to not get ran over completely. A rally from the Boston, and the London Spitfire have to just back up, but Hadi not quite so quick. That was a really nice play from Faith there, setting up the rest of his team. They get this payload moving for free.
Gonna keep it rolling. I mean, at London at this point, they will get a chance to recontest, but this is gonna be a very messy fight. I'm expecting a lot of ultimates to be expended here if it ends up being a full-out brawl, and Spitfire have to do that.
Yeah. Oh my god! Oh, see your backbone had his head completely turned away from Victoria as he just disintegrated it. Just turned into molten metal. Sparker kills him, but it didn't matter because Boston Uprising cap anyway.
Yeah, okay, in that situation, when you know that Backbone popped ult and then he goes down, just save everything, and that's very, very smart for the Spitfire to do. Now that means that they have the ability to go into this giant time bank. 4.5 minutes for the third phase of Dorado is a lot to work with. And when you take that eco push, where you just, you fall over like dominoes, that is an eco push, I suppose. That you do have a bit of an ultimate advantage. Hopefully London can keep it though if they want to stop the card here and just close out the series.
Well, I said we've had some crazy things over the last couple of days with Mammoth vibes, turnarounds, comebacks. It's all possible. Beat from Spitfire, hits everybody except for Sparker. Nice knife kill by Ad. Can Punk do the same thing? Hits quite a few people, in fact. Gets that adrenaline online. You heal so quickly with all the AoE healing too. It's kind of insane. Punker Queen, pretty immortal right now on the payload. Rampage from Hardy. MCD and Faith in trouble. And the London Spitfire gonna hold them. It's nice too, because you can probably just play these doors again, which is quite nice.
Well, he feels good to be able to play this aggressive because look at Hadi on the Junker Queen just going to go over and try to play the stairwell. You can see that the rest of the London Spitfire is going to end up joining him, but Backbone still has this main door on lockdown to see where the Uprising are coming from, and it's great for him to be able to get that poke to build back up that blade. But Boston are trying to do the same thing here by getting ults online themselves.
Yeah, at least Boston Uprising have that right to pull back on. They're going to use it as soon as Landon pops his. Oh, MCD, that's so unfortunate. Again, just props to London Spitfire's target focus. As soon as MCD pop that rally, they just run on in, focus him up, and look, even if you don't have the Rampage, the amount of AoE damage, it doesn't give enough time for that overhealth to build up.
Really doesn't. And I mean, I think the other thing about it as well is when you're looking at how the Junker Queen plays with the rest of the sustainability on the other team, you definitely have ways to sort of either bolster it or shut it down. You know, Commanding Shout can really help to make sure that your team is unkillable on top of the support ultimates and just the overhealth in general. And then, of course, like, if you're able to hit a Rampage, I know it doesn't come very frequently because you have to build up to the ultimate, but that's a good way to also just shut stuff down.
Oh, the time bank has disappeared. Just stall fest. Oh, yeah. There's no way you catch Backbone or a Genji like that. Uh-oh, Backbone takes a body shot. Oh, Victoria hunting. Gotta run, Backbone. He's got to deflect. Oh, Victoria in a perfect position. Gets the better of Sparker. The end of that rail gun. Sparker just bulked ult too. Boston Uprising with a decent time bank so far, but the beat from Avril somehow hits landed. He looked like he was out of LOS, but he was not. And Lambert just going crazy in the back line. Takes a few people low HP, and Avril's able to finish MCD off. And with London's spawn advantage, they're probably going to be able to come back. They still have to contend with the Rampage, which gets unleashed as Punt jumps straight forwards, hits Avril, hits Hardy. Backbone kills one, but the blade has been unsheathed. And the Boston Uprising will claim the 3rd point, and they have 30 more seconds than London Spitfire, so still anyone's game.
Yeah, fantastic capture there for Boston. I think they were hoping to be able to get that over a minute on Paraíso, but that's okay. Happens here now, and honestly, when you look at the 1.5 versus the minute difference, that actually could be pretty big. It's the difference between an extra team fight there for Boston. It's more time for you to get your ultimates online. And Boston, they do like playing on the defense first. So maybe they'll get a chance to use that to their advantage here as well. Just stop it. Set the goalpost.
Yeah. Just stop it, Forehead. Just stop the payment. Just touch.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. That's my favorite thing about I know, it's kind of, I guess, kind of an old meme at this point, but it's like, just stop it, Forehead, you know? Just kill them, Forehead.
Yeah. Just do the thing.
Good strats. That's me as a coach. Just kill them. I don't know what else to say. Just kill 'em. I don't know. Just rotate better.
Yeah, there you go.
I wouldn't be the best coach is what I'm saying. Just
Oh,
he's doing it again. Okay.
We're not.
Fool me once, fool me twice.
Oh,
like,
no.
Is this going to work for the 2nd time?
No,
you see him like a bunny hop with a grenade before?
Surely cannot.
Oh, they gotta know. Well, they know now. Look, whee, straight around the corner. Yeah, everybody has run for the hills. In fact, Boston Uprising going for a big rotation. Punk already using that commanding shout. And yeah, cut to pieces. Straight to the scrap metal yard.
Yeah, okay. That would have been... I would have lost it. I think my PC would have exploded again if the Bastion went second time. But it doesn't, and so we will see Backbone switch back over to the Genji as Spitfire are running out of time. Such a nice adjustment from the Uprising to make sure they didn't fall for that a 2nd time.
Yeah, good stuff. Although it gives more playtime to Bastion, so I'm not complaining. Oh, Valentine looking for something cheeky. Yeah, it looked like he was going to dash through everybody there, but he wouldn't have had deflect to get out. OT has arrived. London Spitfire only getting the payload a little way, but Punk stepping too far forward. MCD and Faith unable to heal them up, and now Faith looking for just some exit kills. MCD pretty low, Backbone cleans him up, has got the dash reset, he's going in, might as well. And there it is, nice. So London now in OT can play fairly far up, but I gotta say, Admiral's been doing a lot of healing and damage. Compared to Faith's ult charge, 93 to 57.
Ridiculous.
London Spitfire have a massive advantage going into this fight.
They do. I mean, they could just pop the beat aggressively here. As long as Admiral doesn't go down before that sound barrier comes online, London should be able to get the first point captured. The disruptor shot as well at the door just to stop them. Oh my god, they just capped!
Yeah, I think Boston Uprising know if they just kind of in here, the London Spitfire have such a good advantage in terms of space that they've made, and they have to funnel through those doors, so they're just more than willing to take them to a fight on this last corner. I mean, we'll see still. Admiral with the beat advantage. Overclock popped by Victoria. He's hunting for people. The beat from Admiral comes too late. Doesn't hit Sparker, and neither Landed. Landed ends up going down. He can't build this rally in this fight as the blade's been pulled by Valentine, and MCD with the rally's going to keep him live and healthy. A 3K for Valentine, making a 4th. Can't quite get there. But the Boston Uprising hold the London Spitfire just under that archway.
That is the strategy of Boston Uprising paying off there. You know, definitely just allowing London to cap. And I think that was smart. You know, you see the disruptor shot, and I think still a lot of a lot of people would probably look at that and go, well, we have to stop them from capturing the first point. Otherwise, you know, how else are we going to win this map? But if you take too much damage from the disruptor shot and then you go in, you're really squishy, you're going to get cleaned up there, you give more ultimate charge to the Spitfire, and then they probably capture second point as well. It's just a snowball effect. And speaking of snowballs...
Yeah. Okay. So London, all they're going to do is just hold that small little room with the mate.
Okay.
It's kind of like Junkertown. It's like Junkertown Dorado. There's maybe another map that I'm not thinking of that you can do this, where you just, all you do is just sit there, put the wall up. When you take too much damage, then poke out with the Rhine shield.
Oh, Route 66.
Yeah, Route 66, you can do it too. There's a few little hidey holes. We'll see if London actually want to go there. Yeah, it does look like it. I was wondering if they were just going to hold high ground, then drop on the enemy team, but no. They are just going to hold forward. They can hold on the corner with the Mei. Will Boston Uprising respond with anything, or are they just going to stick with the Junker Queen? It's something that they played, of course, like most teams, entirely for the Summer Showdown qualifiers thus far.
The commanding shout, though, really might give the Junker Queen composition an edge. We've seen London try this before, and it was not successful versus the Mayhem.
Yeah, it is so good. But, oh, nice snipe from Backbone. Good start. And in fact, Faith goes down as well. Backbone's Mei has been his best hero in the Overwatch League thus far. Good wall onto Punk. He gets cleaned. And the London Spitfire burning that time back down. Matches theirs from what they had on their attack. There's 50 seconds to go for the Uprising.
They still have another attempt, and once Boston start getting the cart rolling, maybe it'll be overtime, but if they can withstand through some of the firepower of the London Spitfire right now, they could definitely get a map win here. But the way that Spitfire are controlling this main portion of the map, this is making it difficult. I mean, Valentine, you can't deflect a Reinhardt hammer.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Nano, boost, build up so quickly. Backbone, unfortunately, goes down to MCD, but MCD pays for it with his own blood. They do trade. Had he got the Nano, chase the rest of the Boston Uprising off the point. They still need to contest. Charlie is just standing strong. He's got Shatter in 7%. Boston Uprising gotta know this coming up soon. He's swinging away, 5% to go. He's getting pushed into the wall. He's not gonna be able to get it online before he gets cut down, but still they get another point for defense here. They can hold this this last choke. London Spitfire setting themselves up for success. Beat, Shatter, Overclock coming online, and that Blizzard.
And because of the close hold, they've got 2 chances, Straws. They'll probably get a chance to come back now. And then, I don't know, the door, though, it might take some time to open. But you gotta set the tempo here. If London Spitfire want to close it out now, they've got to go fast. And they've got to go before Valentine hits this blade.
There's the Shatter. It does end up whiffing on Valentine, but the Blizzard's good enough to stop Faith in his tracks. He is vulnerable, and in fact, Boston Uprising can't even touch. The Blizzard zoned them for so long, and the London Spitfire, after what was an extremely slow start a couple of days ago, end this series with a 3-0 against the Uprising.
Okay. All right. Chat, pick'ems? You feeling good right now?
Looking good?
You're feeling pretty good right now, probably. Woo.
The Overwatch ecosystem currently in
Shambles.
shambles. The Pick'ems ecosystem shambles right now.
Actually,
No one
yeah.
knows who to bet on. No one knows who to pick. London Spitfire with a clean 3-0 after the Boston Uprising just came out the gate going crazy against the Atlanta Reign. I think we expected it to be this one-sided. Well, London back up to their old nonsense, it feels like. They go back to some of their tried and true in the May Rhine rush, and it comes out big. Boston Uprising not expecting it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was really expecting that at the Bastion pick. And then, the Reinhardt. I think that was so smart, though, because we have seen in a few cases where that switch over to the Ana can be really crucial to just making sure that that anti-nade is going to shut something down, anything, just to make sure that that healing, because you have so much sustain, can actually be shut off here. But our player of the match, it is Admiral. We gotta give some Lucio O's to this player. I mean, Admiral, just like, especially in a meta where this Lucio is such a backbone for the team. Sorry, backbone, but it's Admiral right now.
Yeah, it's especially in these comps, I feel it's kind of hard to see the impact of like a Lucio, of a Brig sometimes. Yeah, the bashes and boots are great, but classic supports, they're not filling the kill feed or anything like that. And Lucio, a bit more of a hidden role sometimes, but Admiral's been extremely solid for the London Spitfire so far this season. It's good to see him stepping up to the plate, coming into the league and showing everybody what he's got. I think he could give it to someone like Backbone, Admiral, or Landon as well on the Brig this series. Helping Shaddy set up for success on the Reinhardt. It's looking good. London Spitfire 3-0 off the back of this guy. You have to have a strong support line. And Admiral is just one of those pieces that's making London work right now.
Well, I think that London, that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people also expected them to translate really well over to the Junker Queen meta, is because of how much synergy exists between Admiral and Landon. You know, I think that they're kind of set up for this, right? They've got the Lucio, they got the Brig player. That's the two supports that you really need to make this Junker Queen composition work, and it's nice to see it pay off here in a big way for the London Spitfire today.
Yeah, I want to point out that stat too. In fact, 12 sound barriers per 10. That is kind of ridiculous. That's what you need, right? Just more sound barriers, the better. No Ajaxing. All good. We didn't see one of those yet. We've still got 2 more games today and then 4 games tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll see. We're going to jump to a quick break. Paris Eternal versus the Washington Justice. What's going to happen in this game? No one knows. You'll have to wait and find out after this.
3, 2, 1. No slow. Walk up. I can shut up. Queen.
Oh, can you purple?
Nice! Nice, boys.
Nice.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome everyone to the Game Break. I'm here joined by Sparker from London, Spitfire. Sparker, congratulations on the win. I'm gonna start off the question right away. This is very important. I'm gonna ask you about the Backbone Bastion on Dorado. Was that part of the strategy or was that something like in the moment kind of thing? Like how did you guys come up with that strategy?
We just have a motto at the London Spitfire. It's never let them know your next move. So we just followed that principle and went Bastion.
That's a great motto and that's a great strategy. Never, if the opposing team doesn't know your strategy or like doesn't know what you're gonna do, it's gonna work, and it did work. So yeah, big ups to you guys for that. And of course, I also want to ask you about your performance today. I honestly believe that you guys looked a lot better compared to how you guys were playing against the Florida Mayhem a couple days ago. What sort of improvements did you guys make going into today's match against the Boston Uprising?
Versus Florida, we tried a lot of Ash and stuff, but I don't really think it fit our playstyle, and I'm much more comfortable on Sojourn. So trying that out, I think it just went a lot smoother for us, playing this type of comp instead.
Okay, so can we expect to see you more on the Sojourn in the future, I guess, matches?
Maybe hybrid of both, we'll see. Depending on what maps and stuff we get to play.
Of course. Yeah, and lastly, we did get to see your, I guess, London Spitfire signature rush comp towards the very end of today's match. What was the thought process of using the rush comp against Boston Uprising in Dorado?
Hadi just wanted to play Ryan, so we let him play Ryan. And we just hope he plays well. See how it goes.
Okay, all right. Well, that's it for the interview, Sparker. Thank you so much for your time. And again, big congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hardy wanted to play Ryan, so
I thought that was like the strategy, like use May.
So me and Costa discussed it. Yeah.
I thought it would speak to you, Johnny, of you being like, I just wanted to play Ryan, so I did. That's sort of your mantra as well, right?
But I like playing Ryan when it makes sense.
Well, it made they won.
They won, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, two birds in one stone. I want to play Ryan, and it makes sense. It worked out for the London Spitfire. We argued that it was like, well, they want to play with like the Earthshatter. There's no shield. They want to play with the May Blizzard because it's overtime. Yeah. If you put that Blizzard on the cart in overtime, they have to step very hard to touch, and they didn't.
We're just overthinking it.
But yeah, we were overthinking it.
He wanted to play Ryan.
All right, maybe that's like a tip-off moving forward. Like if London plays Ryan, It's because Hadi wants
to play Ryan. Yeah. He's itching.
Nothing more to it. So, London Spitfire, they get the first 3-0 of the Summer Showdown qualifiers. Very predictable 3-0. Don't even want to talk about it. And I think that Sparker, who you just talked to, had a very impressive series. He mentioned the difference between playing Ashe earlier this week and now playing a lot of Sojourn instead. It was a bit of a step-up performance from him, and I think it definitely helped London Spitfire gain this 3-0 victory over Boston.
Yeah, I think he, most importantly, his ability to get the initial picks and open fights up where it felt like there was no opening was incredible. I was at Paraiso where he got like the first 2 picks somehow on the first point out of nowhere. So just able to get those picks. But overall, London Spitfire, I think, looked a lot more coordinated, a lot more comfortable with Sparker on that Sojourn. Ultimate usage made a lot of sense and they really made it work. On the other hand, though, the Boston Uprising looked a little lost at times. They weren't really playing with that same level of coordination that they had in their last match. A lot of ults going by the wayside, Punk really struggling to find value on that Junker Queen. And, you know, I thought that maybe on this Dorado they were going to start working it out, but the Bastion, you know, Chaos is a ladder for the London Spitfire. It definitely caught them off guard a little bit, and, you know, London Spitfire with a 3-0 win, you know, the chat was right. You know, the pick'ems are right. They're coming for our jobs and our lack of money.
Yeah, 2-5 maybe, yeah.
I can't believe we're 2-5. That's actually devastating. Oh, wow. I do want to give credit to London Spitfire for turning things around so quickly.
Yeah.
And I think one player that really stood out for me was their Brigade player for London Spitfire, was Landon, of course. So I wanted to showcase some stats that I really think like told a story. And this is not so much, you know, looking at MCD and how he didn't live up to, you know, the duel versus Landon. You can see Landon a little bit more hero damage, a little bit less healing done. But the knockback kills, you got 7 more knockback kills throughout the entire series, and you died 7 times less here. I think this demonstrated that I think London Spitfire played well around their Brigade player. They were really coordinated. I think you saw a difference in playstyle where they like to peel back more, and that resulted in Landon hitting a lot of whip shots on the oncoming dives from Valentine's, Genji, etc. And MCD was forced forwards aggressively into that position. So I think London Spitfire did a good job of adapting their playstyle, playing a bit more set back a little bit more, and you know, abused the positioning from the Boston Uprising when they dove in with Genjis, etc. So good job by the London Spitfire. Impressive 3-0 win, and they'll be looking forward to the next few matchups here. Yeah.
I'm sorry, London, for not believing you.
We go through this every stage. Danny doesn't believe, and then they win when he doesn't believe, and then all of a sudden he's a London Spitfire fan again. So
I gotta bring my jersey again.
Talking about going through the belief of team winning and them not winning, and then going through that entire thing all the time. The Washington Justice taking on the Paris Eternal in our second matchup of the day, who of course got reverse swept yesterday against the San Francisco Shock. They did look pretty good the first 2 maps, and you know, we talked it through after the match itself. It was an impressive performance by the Washington Justice to start things off, their rotations, etc. But then it just all fell apart, Costa. Really, what's up with this Washington Justice team? I'm not going to ask you to put belief in them, but give me like the objective answer here. Like, what went wrong for the Washington Justice, and what are some like good things about the Justice?
Here's the thing. I don't think the Washington Justice played terribly in the back half. They were close to winning it. They should have won that final Oasis. They really had the advantage in a lot of these situations. But the San Francisco Shock just did a great job of adapting, something that they're very good at. I don't think they need to make changes heading into this match. It's the meta. They know how to play it. Just play to those strengths. You're now going up against the Paris Eternal, who has been struggling. I believe they only have 1-11 so far in this season, but this stage so far has been the great equalizer of these teams. Who knows what is going to come out from the Paris Eternal, but if you're the Washington Justice, play your game, expect it to work better against the Paris Eternal.
So, judging by our prediction so far, Danny, is it fair to assume that the Paris Eternal are going to win this match?
I hope not.
I kind of hope.
You go, really? Just go all out?
Look, I mean, we can't just leave Paris Eternal out.
Yeah. I mean, if they do win, you know, that means they were better today than the Washington Justice. So it was, you know.
Would that inherently mean that the Paris Eternal is almost better than the San Francisco Shock?
Maybe. We'll think about that. We'll think about that while you guys have fun watching the next game. The next game, of course, is going to be the Paris Eternal taking on the Washington Justice. And for your casters in this very next matchup, I introduce you to Lemon Day, and Lake Kiwi. Take it away.
What? Now, we got nicknames now. Like, did we finally make it? We made it.
We're
no
part
longer...
of the circle.
Yay!
We're part of a team.
Because you know you're tight with someone when they got nicknames for you. But we're also tight with these teams. Paris Eternal versus Washington Justice. Even though Danny said he hoped Paris didn't win, I can't say anything of that sort because Paris is coming to my city next year and they will find me. So I have to be non-biased for my own security.
Yeah, but biases right now are a little bit weird, as it feels like when it comes to predictions and pick'ems, we're all going through a collective Joker moment of we've just embraced the great equalizer, as Custer called it. We're in anarchy mode at the moment, but it's not just a question of anarchy, but also a question of bravery as to if you've predicted the Paris Eternal, because their season thus far has not been great, and yesterday Washington Justice did pretty well against the San Francisco Shock. They're probably 1 or 2 fights away from winning the entire thing. Let's have a look at the Paris Eternal, Lemon. I'm looking straight up at Wub here as we move on in. We've seen already how much a good Genji can bring to the table for a team. And Wub basically was picked up mostly for his Genji, replacing Naga, who Paris Eternal started the year with.
Yeah, I think Genji is what Wub was most known for, one of his best heroes at the very least. One other thing that sticks out is Vestola playing instead of Dawn. I always have to be like, Dawn, because I used to say Dan. He got mad at me before. It's kind of like a yawn, but what's not a yawn is Vestola, so I'm kind of thinking this is like a Dallas Fuel situation where you have your off-tanks coming in to specialize in the Junker Queen, whether they just didn't have anything else to do and now Dawn can, or, you know, Fearless, for example, can focus on their main tanks. But we even had this discussion about how Zarya players will they have probably better raw mechanics, and overall the play style of that Zarya and how she synergizes and enables the rest of her team probably is very similar to how you would play Junker Queen. So it worked out for Dallas Fuel, who won their first match. Now in Paris's first match, you start off on a fresh foot. 0-0, one of Paris's best records, so you can only go up from here.
I don't need any hopium to think about the tank line of a Washington Justice, because one man is all that they need. Mag yesterday was lights out on the Junker Queen. When it comes to this meta, it really feels like Mag has once again found his stride. Admittedly, it's not been the most inspiring run for Mag in the Overwatch League across the seasons that he's been here so far. Came in as a much-hyped rookie from notable talent farm that he's run away with multiple contenders' career titles under his belt, but it never really translated to results on Washington Justice. This could be the stage of. They came so close to defeating the San Francisco Shock. Unfortunately, it came down to a decision of Happy's Blade, or rather Decay's Blade, being at the wrong place in the wrong time that kind of sent a death spiral happening in the last map of Oasis, and Happy popped an overclock but just could not connect the shots. So what I'm looking for is consistency, not only in mechanics but also in decision making from the more rogue element